Welcome everyone to this presentation on educating for youth purpose around the world. The purpose of the presentation is to initiate building of a joint, multinational, and global understanding of purpose. We seek to understand how young people come to identify a purpose in life that is positive, and how education in global perspective can foster purpose development. Having a purpose in life is associated with many positive outcomes and is referred to by positive psychologists as a component of a life well lived. The scholars participating here hope, through presentations like this, to ultimately spearhead research initiatives to impact purpose knowledge, education, and policy. We seek to build a multinational area of scholarship around this topic. The presenters are experts on purpose development or on purpose-related education from 6 different countries. Each of these individuals conduct research on purpose both in their respective countries and cross-culturally. Dr. Ulysses Araujo is professor at the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Dr. Fei Jiang is associate professor at Northeast Normal University, China. Dr. Elina Kuusisto is a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Helsinki, Finland. Dr. Kuusisto is also representing Dr. Kirsi Tiri, professor at the University of Helsinki. Dr. Esther Luna is senior lecturer at the University of Barcelona, Spain. She represents her colleagues Dr. Pilar Folgueres, Dr. Barbara Biglia, and Dr. Berta Palau, who are all faculty members at the University of Barcelona. Dr. Jong Ho Shin is professor at Seoul National University, Korea. Dr. Shauna Moran is assistant research professor at Clark University, United States. And I'm Jenny Mariano. I'm an associate professor at the University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee in the United States. Each presenter will address 3 vital questions about purpose during the period of youth. First, how is purpose defined or understood in your country? Second, how do young people come to identify a purpose for their life in your country? And third, what does purpose education look like in your country? In some cases, recommendations are offered. A transcript of the full webinar discussion will be provided at the end of this presentation. We're going to start with a presentation by Dr. Ulysses Araujo from Brazil, followed by the presentation by Fei Jiang from China, then from Elina Kuusisto in Finland, Esther Luna in Spain, Jong Ho Shin in Korea, and then Shauna Moran in the United States. In Brazil, several studies have examined the content of youth's purposes. Scholars in Brazil use the word purpose to refer to a life project that guides actions and choices of the self. Purpose is related to objectives and goals that are both meaningful to the self and to the wider world. Based on moral values and giving an ethical meaning to life and one's actions, purpose expresses an engagement of the self in making a difference in the world. Purpose is realized through applying one's personal interests and capabilities through action and through the assistance of an optimistic and persistent attitude. The research shows that Brazilian young people who engage in purpose always report the importance of episodes and people who are very striking and meaningful in their lives. They identify purpose through meanings, values, and interpersonal relationships associated with work and family. In many cases, study and training are also a way to engage in purposes. Engaging in social groups or institutions, such as religion, political groups, volunteer work, and causes and actions related to minority groups and social issues is another way to identify one's purpose. In defining their purpose, young people often highlight the influence of people who are close to them, who they admire as examples of good living. Schools in Brazil are far from a path that help young people to identify purpose. The school curriculum emphasizes an abstract and fragmented knowledge about the world, but not issues that encourage understanding of interpersonal relationships and self-knowledge. There are obstacles and resistance faced by the schools in working with moral education, because moral education is not considered objective. Furthermore, educational processes hinder autonomy and concern for others, since they prioritize individual work, discipline, and obedience to authority and rules. In contrast, it is moments of dialogue, participation, and creation that are critical for the identification and engagement of purpose. It is recommended that the school curriculum be designed to promote life projects that guide individuals' actions. For example, curricula could be more directly designed to foster moral values and an understanding of the ethical meaning of life. Additionally, students need to know how to put ethical values into practice through field-based experiences such as service learning. At the University of Sao Paulo, we are piloting one such approach. We use a problem-based and cross-disciplinary learning project where students address issues of human rights through academic and field experiences, where they collaborate directly with communities. We hope to share results of this program in the future.
In China, being purposeful ranks first in the 4 basic requirements for all citizens. Teaching for purpose is compulsory and has received much attention in all levels of education. Purpose means the yearning and pursuit of one's future. People always metaphorically look on purpose as the lighthouse, symbolizing the guidance of one's life. Purpose is achievable, and it is very different from fantasy and daydream. Purpose is formed in practice, and it is something ideological. It is a representation of a person's worldview, philosophy of life, values, and political standpoint. The 2 most common ways to classify purpose are from attribution and content perspectives. Purpose could be categorized into common purpose and personal purpose from the attribution perspective, and living purpose, professional purpose, social purpose, and moral purpose from the content perspective. Direct experiences like interactions with teachers, family members, peers, acquaintances in daily life, and with strangers in all sorts of social practices are major ways for students to identify their purposes. Indirect experiences like reading the biography and achievements of exemplars, heroes, celebrities are also important ways guiding students to identify their life purpose. Once a purpose is identified, it might be altered. Direct experiences like field practices are always the best ways to help students enhance or deny a set purpose. Courses and teachers play key roles in purpose education. Ideological and political education is a compulsory course, bearing the most responsibility of teaching for purpose. Common purpose is proposed by the nation and is taught most in class. At present, the common purpose for all Chinese people is to build the nation into a prosperous, strong, democratic, and civilized modern socialist country. The content, significance, and realizing methods of common purpose are taught and discussed in class. Indoctrination plus discussion is the major method. Teaching for personal purpose does not get equal attention because textbooks require students' personal purpose to be in consistency with common purpose. It is believed by doing so, students' personal purpose would gradually develop toward the direction of common purpose. A recent research on the content of students' life purpose shows that common purpose is not much revealed in students' purpose choices. Instead, the content of students' life purpose reflects their concerns of not only social development and welfare, but also personal need and success. Faculty of various majors are responsible to trigger professional purpose. Counselors are responsible of guiding living purpose, moral purpose, and social purpose. Yet how much, and how well these types of purpose are taught depend too much on the abilities, consciousness, and willingness of individual teachers, since there's neither solid requirement nor fixed ways to examine the real effect. Programs and activities are designed to promote purpose as well. among which various service learning programs are the most prominent. Other activities like speeches by exemplars and contests on professional knowledge and skills are also good ways to trigger purpose. Schools also build campus culture to promote purpose. Mottos, posters, names of buildings, and roads all bear the function of guiding a certain kind of morality or life direction. Classroom teaching programs, activities, and the construction of campus culture function comprehensively to promote purpose. A large proportion of students' purpose choices still focus on personal flourish, the reason of which is complex and has much to do with big population and subsequent social problems, like drastic competition, only child in the family, the scarce of social resources, and the like. Evaluation mechanisms should be built to examine the real effect. Purpose education should solve students' confusion about life and guide students to a clear route toward personal flourish, which may be the foundation for students to form altruistic purposes.
Purpose in Finland. Presentation by Professor Kirsi Tiri and Dr. Elina Kuusisto, University of Helsinki. In Finland and in Finnish culture, purpose means the same than meaning of life or important goals in life. We also think it's something positive, something that gives hope for the future. The ways how young people come to identify their purpose in life in Finnish culture include our holistic school pedagogy. In Finnish schools, we educate the whole person, including the emotional and moral dimensions, not only the cognitive one. We also have religious education in schools in every grade level, and approximately 92% of students take part to the Lutheran religious education. The youth also take part to the Evangelical Lutheran Confirmation School. Almost 90% of young people attend that kind of school. And we also have young confirmed voluntary workers in this confirmation school, usually camps, who discuss life purpose with young people. In what ways does education help youth purpose in Finland? Include our national value of equality. In Finland, everybody has equal learning opportunities because education is free, and we also invest a lot in special education for those who have some kind of learning needs. So Finnish educational system is very high quality, judged by the international standards. And all this schooling is one important way how to help young people to identify purpose in life. Things that might hinder purpose identification include the current trend of marginalization among ninth graders. 9% of our ninth graders are marginalized and don't take part to any kind of education. Also, the schools in large cities, for example, in the capital area of Helsinki, are very segregated. To conclude, teachers in Finland have very important role in supporting youth purpose. This has been demonstrated by empirical research that is just recently published. Also, the religious education promotes ethical reflection among our youth, and the national standard equal educational opportunities also provide good culture for finding purpose.
Our team is coordinated by Dr. Pilar Folgueiras from University of Barcelona. It's formed by 3 members more, Barbara Biglia, Berta Palau, and Esther Luna. The subject that concerns us today is the purpose of education in Spain. To speak about this, it is necessary to ask ourselves, what does purpose mean? It's not common in our culture to talk about life purpose. However, we use the term purpose to refer to the objective, intention, and finality. The purpose is what you want to achieve, get. It has to be coherent with the social possibilities and the needs of the person, of the young people in our study. To identify the purpose of the young people, we have several ways. Family. This is considered with a very important role in support of decision-making of the sons and daughters and the focus on important issues such as the academic question. The school works with families to make sure that this support is exercised in the best possible way. And here appears the second way. A school. This educational institution is equipped with a department of guidance that allows giving the necessary support to students who need it. This work is carried out in coordination with institutions and organizations in the context. Also, there are schools that have programs that promote autonomy, responsibility, and the personal growth of young people, thus have consolidated the fundamental basis for decision making. This will help them to better identify their educational purpose, since these aspects roll back toward a more personal maturation of the young. Some of these programs are service learning projects, for example. Also, when students are finishing high school, receive guidance on the possibilities once completed, vocational training, school, and so on. Also, and as third way, educational authorities, the state administration, provide resources, programs, and specific plans that help students to identify its purpose. And the fourth way are those more informal options, but that widely used by students who refer to information that can be found on the web, such as blogs, attendance at meetings, courses, either NLP programs, and coaching offered to identify the purpose for which the person has in life. In relation to the purpose which has education more specifically, from formal education and according with the report of 2013, the Education and Training Strategy, European and Spanish Educational Objective, Education and Training 2020, the purposes are working together and coordinated between all education authorities, reducing early school leaving at the momentum of learning throughout life implies an improvement of human capital, and establishing basic guidelines for designing educational policies. The first one, commitment of all educational authorities in developing a plan for the reduction of early school leaving and training. The second one is the commitment of all educational authorities in developing a plan to increase graduation rates in secondary second stage. And finally, the commitment of all educational authorities in developing learning plans throughout the life of annual or biannual character. However, these objectives are established theoretically by educational policies. Often, the reality is a different one. Cuts in education have been very high. These cuts have been replaced by selfless efforts of schools and secondary schools with the education community, initiatives, programs, projects which promote the educational development of the community in general. In conclusion, we can say about the purpose education in Spain. The objectives are more common than purpose. A proliferation of blogs, meetings, courses, NLP programs that offer trainings about personal growth and the search for life meaning. Establishing basic guidelines for designing educational policies. Family has an important role. The psychologist is a professional who, so far, was in all secondary schools to guide and support students to find their purpose. However, with the current crisis in Spain, this professional is disappearing. The cuts are affecting seriously to the educational field.
Hello, I am Chung Ho-shin at Seoul National University, South Korea. First, I'd like to talk about what purpose means to Korean adolescents. Like the definition of purpose in the dictionary, to Korean adolescents, purpose means the future direction or something to be achieved. Also, they consider purpose something that adds meaning to one's current life and something that leads to specific actions to achieve what they want. These two concepts are very similar to what we observe from Western adolescents. However, Korean adolescents often think purpose is something that needs to be pursued with people around them, such as family members. From the chart on the slide, most Korean adolescents choose to pursue a happy life with family members as the most important outcome in life. From this, we can infer that purpose to Korean adolescents is not only the meaning or outcome they want to achieve individually, but also the meaning or outcome they want to share with meaningful people surrounding them. Recently, I asked undergraduate and graduate students what led them to having their current purpose of life. The most frequent report was the influence of meaningful others. Family members, peers, and teachers were cited frequently. Second, Korean adolescents find their purpose by personally undergoing and overcoming hardships in life, such as the deaths of their loved ones and economic difficulties of their family. Third, they identify purpose through vicarious experiences from others' stories on overcoming life tragedies, like Ji-sun Lee's story, who started a new life as a counselor after a huge burn all over her body in her teens. I'd like to move on a next topic on the role of education in identifying and developing purpose in Korea. Korean students spend a lot of time studying, especially preparing for college entrance. As the pie chart shows, they spend over 15 hours a day on studying, including studying at school. It is only about 3 hours a day that they can spend freely except for studying and sleeping. Therefore, it is hard for them to find time to think about their purpose of life and to have related life experiences. In addition, many Korean students think that school education is not of any help to identifying and developing their life purpose. On the contrary, sometimes it is an obstacle to identifying their purpose in a meaningful way. This belief, I think, is strongly related to a very competitive academic atmosphere in Korea. In conclusion, as adolescents in the Western culture, Korean adolescents think of purpose as the meaning of their life and the reason for their action. They also consider purpose something they want to share with meaningful others like family members. With regard to factors affecting purpose identification and development, social relationships with meaningful others, and direct and indirect experiences of overcoming hardships in life are reported most by Korean adolescents. Finally, the Korean school system is very competitive. The Korean adolescents consider that educational experiences in school do not promote their purpose development. Instead, education in school hinders its development often. Having purpose is an important developmental task for adolescents across all countries and cultures. More attention should be given to adolescents' purpose development to help our future generation to grow up psychologically healthy. Thank you for attending to my talk today.
Youth purpose in the United States focuses on why am I? It is important to consider not only what purpose is, but what it does for people. Clinical research based on Viktor Frankl's groundbreaking work after the Holocaust shows how having a purpose, something that gives us a reason for our existence, provides many benefits including motivation, life satisfaction, and resilience. Given that purpose confers such benefits, perhaps we should instill purpose earlier in life. More recently, a developmental perspective focused on youth and young adults emphasizes how purpose can function as a future-oriented guide for linking current behavior to an ideal future self. Developmentally, purpose is viewed as a lifelong intention to engage in meaningful pro-social endeavors. It provides a sense that a person matters. Purpose answers the question, why am I, that goes beyond identity's who am I? In the United States, only about a quarter of youth demonstrate a fully developed purpose. Another quarter of youth have goals that focus only on benefits to the self. 1 in 10 have a dream to contribute to others in some way, but have not yet found an outlet. Unfortunately, 4 in 10 are not yet on a purposeful path. Most youth follow their culture's default purposes or core cultural ideas, those agreed upon goals best supported by the culture's institutions. Currently in the United States, much emphasis is placed on career and getting ahead in life. Only 16% of youth aim to change society through creativity, and another 12% aim for change through tolerance. A purpose can be found through passive acceptance of norms or identified more proactively through exploration. Either way, to be considered a fully developed purpose requires commitment, an investment of oneself and one's personal resources into the pursuit. A few youth believe everyone has a purpose because it is given by God, by parents, by social class or status, or by other societal requirements. These youth express considerable certainty in their sense of purpose, even if they may not yet understand their purpose's particular tasks. Many youth credit friends and family, and to a lesser degree teachers, for providing encouragement, role models, and moral support for finding their purpose. Crystallizing experiences that harmonize youth's talents, sense of self, and social networks create the strongest path to purpose. These experiences require engagement, meaningfulness, and usually interaction with others or the wider world in some way. Crystallizing experiences produce an, aha, I can do something about this situation, or hey, I'm good at this, or this is so important sense in the youth that it catalyzes action and self-efficacy. An education that supports purpose development means understanding how our society works and finding a meaningful place within this society. A longitudinal study suggests purpose development may follow a trajectory of emphasizing empathy and pro-sociality in early adolescence, then finding engaging roles in middle adolescence, then deciding priorities and personal meaning in later adolescence, and forging intentional pathways in early adulthood. Teachers and activities that specifically focus on purpose's importance and beyond the self-effects of students' actions can stimulate thinking about purpose. Courses that provide avenues for engagement and reflection also show promise for purpose development. Schools can help less purposeful youth find purpose by exploring alternatives, providing mentors and coaches, and orienting youth in a particular direction in life. However, current educational practices may be counterproductive for youth who already have chosen a purpose, especially a purpose that differs from the American cultural norm focused on career and financial success. Purpose is personalized. It is a connection by which the individual contributes intentionally, meaningfully, and ideally pro-socially to the community. Purpose isn't standardized. A one-size-fits-all curriculum, then, could be perceived as a hindrance to purpose development if it is not in line with the particular purpose of a student. There is much work to be done to help youth with their purposes. How can a youth invest or devote his or her life? The younger this focus is cultivated, the more time a person has to devote. Perhaps purpose is not given or found. It is forged from the opportunities and resources of a culture, place, and historical time period. This perspective offers a challenging opportunity to educators. If purpose is forged, and if purpose emphasizes the direct and meaningful interaction of person with situation, community, or environment, then classes that have a singular end for all students and that take youth out of the flow of everyday life may be counterproductive to purpose development. Instead of considering education as preparation for the future, perhaps frame it as inventing the future. One of our most important inventions, then, is our purpose in life.
Thank you to all speakers. That concludes the presentation. You can access the full transcript of the presentation and the discussion that followed in the live webinar by clicking the link in the description. Also, I'd like to thank the support staff at USF who made this possible. Thank you to Fabio Monteconi and to Janine Ashforth. Finally, we want to express our gratitude for a generous grant from the John Templeton Foundation to Clark University, USA. The John Templeton Foundation has supported this webinar and the multinational purpose research that the presenters are collaborating on.